A dramatic, modern wedding ballroom filled with guests in elegant evening wear. Crystal chandeliers, shining above. In the center, a confident woman in a sleek, navy evening dress stands calmly, with a glass of wine in her hand. Under bright golden lights. Her expression is powerful, calm after chaos. Behind her, shocked guests stare in disbelief. A man in a charcoal gray suit, the CEO, stands tall with authority, while an older man and woman on stage look furious and embarrassed near a microphone. The atmosphere feels tense, emotional, and high society. Modern luxury setting, cinematic lighting, rich contrast, 4K realism. Charlotte never had to earn her shine. She was soft-spoken, radiant, the perfect daughter. She'd call me her big sister in front of guests, like it was a sweet accessory, and I played along. For years, I was the one who kept the image intact, paying off a mortgage when Dad's deal went sideways, wiring money to Mom for her emergency bills, even transferring $50,000 to cover Charlotte's wedding. They never asked twice. They just expected. A week before the wedding, my father said, "You'll sit at the front. Of course. Just remember, it's Charlotte's day. Keep things simple." Simple. He had no idea what simple meant. At the rehearsal dinner, everything shimmered in soft gold light. My mother fussed over Charlotte's veil, while my father shook hands with investors more than relatives. I stood by the bar, invisible again. Then Charlotte turned, voice sweet as sugar. "Isa, thank you again for helping with the expenses," she said loudly enough for half the room to hear. Helping. That word stung. My father nodded proudly, as if she'd just made him look generous. I told myself it didn't matter. One more night. One more performance. But I had no idea they were about to make me the opening act in their perfect show. The morning of the wedding was blindingly bright. The kind of sunlight that makes everything look innocent. But underneath the flowers and champagne, something felt wrong. I arrived early at the hotel ballroom. The scent of white lilies hung heavy in the air. Staff buzzed everywhere, adjusting fabric, polishing glasses. Then I heard my mother's voice, sharp and commanding. "Make sure Charlotte's bouquet face is left. Her profile photograph's better." It wasn't a request. It never was. As I passed the reception table, I noticed him, a man standing completely still, watching. Charcoal suit, silver fleck tie.com posture. He didn't look like any guest. When our eyes met, he nodded slightly, then said quietly, "Be careful what they announced today." His tone was so even, it almost sounded kind. And then he disappeared into the bustle. A chill ran through me. Seconds later, my phone buzzed. A text. "Unknown number. They'll take what's yours tonight. Don't lose it." My stomach twisted. The penthouse. My one true possession, every brick, built by my own work. Could it really be that? I looked around. My father was laughing near the bar. My mother hovered over Charlotte's train. No one saw me slip away to the corridor. Then, I heard voices through a half-open door. My parents. I shouldn't have stopped. But I did. Dad's tone was low and measured. During the toast, we'll make the announcement. It'll make Charlotte's gift unforgettable. My mother chuckled. And Isabella won't dare refuse. Too many cameras. Too many witnesses. Pride can be useful. Charlotte's voice followed, hesitant, but pleased. "Are you sure she'll be okay with it?" My mother's reply dripped with poison. "She doesn't need that space. She has her work. You deserve a home." The blood drained from my face. They weren't proud. They were plotting. They were going to take my penthouse and parade it as generosity. I pressed my back against the wall, silent. For once, I didn't react. I just remembered. I returned to my suite. The air inside felt charged, like the pause before a storm. I opened the drawer, documents, payments, ownership papers, everything proving that home was mine. I sent them to my lawyer with one line. "Be ready at 8 p.m., ballroom A." Then I changed into a deep navy dress, structured, calm, unshakable. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back. Beneath the calm, a blade waiting to be drawn. Downstairs, the ballroom gleamed. Music floated. Laughter filled the air. Everything looked perfect. I moved through the crowd quietly, unnoticed. Charlotte glided by in her gown, glowing. "I'm so glad you came," she said, touching my arm lightly. I almost smiled. Almost. Moments later, my father clapped his hands. "Everyone, please take your seats for the toast." My pulse steadied. It was time. He stood center stage, smiling into the mic. Before dinner begins, he said, I'd like to say a few words about family. The crowd hushed. Charlotte beside him looked radiant. My mother stood glowing with pride. I sat in the corner, wine glass in hand, knowing exactly what was coming. A family's strength, my father began, is measured not by what we keep, but by what we share. And tonight, we have something extraordinary to celebrate. He looked straight into the crowd. My eldest daughter, Isabella, has decided to give her sister, he paused, her penthouse as a wedding gift. Applause exploded. Gasps, cheers, cameras flashing. My chest tightened. My father beamed. Isabella, sweetheart, come join us. Say a few words. Every eye turned toward me. I took a slow sip of wine. Didn't move, didn't smile. His grin faltered. Come on, darling, don't be shy. The room went still. Then, a chair scraped. At the far end of the hall, a man stood, the same one from that morning. Touch your assets again, he said calmly, and you'll lose yours. The crowd froze. He walked forward, every step echoing. William Carter, he said, pulling a card from his jacket. CEO of Carter Financial. Whispers rippled through the crowd. My father's face turned pale. I believe you know my company, William continued. We've worked closely with your daughter for 3 years. The penthouse you're trying to claim, it's part of her legal compensation package, protected under anti-coercion clauses. Gasps spread across the room. My mother's face drained of color. My father stammered. This is a misunderstanding, a family joke. William's voice hardened. A joke that includes coercion, public humiliation, and false property claims. Then he turned to the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what exploitation looks like when it's dressed up as family love. The ballroom erupted. Partners stood up. Patterson, Williams, Kim, each withdrawing from my father's company in real time. And just like that, the empire they'd built on reputation began to crumble. I rose slowly. You wanted a spectacle, I said. You got one. My mother hissed. You're humiliating us. I met her eyes. No, mother. You did that yourself. Phones were out. Cameras recording. My father shouted. Enough. This is private. I turned to him. You made it public. And that was it. William placed a hand on my shoulder, guiding me out as the ballroom descended into chaos. Behind me, I heard glass shatter, the last sound of a dynasty collapsing. Outside, the night air hit like truth. William asked quietly, Are you all right? I exhaled. I am now. He nodded. You handled that better than most. I looked back at the glowing ballroom doors. No, I said softly. I just finally stopped apologizing. By the next morning, the clip had gone viral. The wedding scandal that shattered a family. My father's company collapsed. My mother's apology video drowned in hate comments. Charlotte's marriage crumbled before it began. I stayed silent. I didn't need to explain. The truth had already done that for me. Weeks later, I stood in my penthouse. The city lights flickering like quiet applause. The same walls they tried to take from me now reflected everything I'd earned. On the shelf sat a photo of my grandmother, with her note beneath it. Don't let them take your light. I smiled. They hadn't, and they never would. If you've ever had to stand alone at a table full of people who called it family, know this, you're not alone. Share your story below, because the next story might be yours.